Hello, my name is Kyle and I'll be bringing my graduation project for everybody and I'm going to try to make this video as short as possible because no one really likes a long lecture. So let's get this thing started on drugs. So we're going to start off with street drugs. Street drugs are the most dangerous drug out there. They are the most drug that kills in a year. They're legal because they are of their harmful effects, and drug dealers will be caught and sent to jail. Simple as that. So, alright, let's get started. Alright, let's start with marijuana. So, marijuana is an illegal drug made off from the marijuana plant. It's green, grayish, and yellowish brown. The leaves from the plant are melted into an oil that is melted into a cigarette to be smoked. When you're smoked, your mind confuses reality and fantasy. Your heart rate increases and your body becomes sluggish, and the side effects include heart problems, asthma, and damage to your skin and respiratory systems. So, alright, now cocaine. Cocaine is an illegal drug unless prescribed by a cancer treating doctor. It comes off the leaves of cocoa bushes. It can be processed for smoking and inhaling. It also can be eaten by whole leaves. When taken, your body slows and your heart rate increases. Your mouth dries and your eyes become dilated. And you experience exaggerated movements. Side effects include being shaky, seizures, and death. And it can also be hardened into a rock-like substance called crack cocaine. Alright, the next is narcotics. It comes in the form of a juice, powder, or thick solutions. When taking, it depresses your breathing and it stops your thinking. You also experience moments of little or to no pain when normally injured or hurt, and the side effects include birth defects, addiction, breathing problems, and it stops your thinking functioning. Next drug is heroin. So it's an illegal drug that comes from a white powder or water-like substance that is mixed with other drugs. Your mind shuts down the central nervous system while calming pain and happiness. Your breathing slows down to a slow pace. Side effects include drowsiness, headaches, and problems with the respiratory system. Death can also occur from heroin, and you can be addicted from it from your first try. Okay, the next street drug is PCP, or angel dust. This illegal drug comes in the form of white powders in various colors. When taken, this drug can make you lose your sense of pain, but your reaction speed also drops. Your coordination, speech, and flexibility also drops. Also, your eyes can lose vision from severe twitching months after the first dose. Side effects include, of course, the loss of the sense of pain. Also can give constant panic attacks, and then sometimes death. And also, overdosing can make a person lose control of their body, which can lead to death because of suffocation. So, alright, here is my citation for my street drugs. Okay, so the next topic is addictive drugs. So the first type of drugs under addictive drugs is street narcotics. So they are used for a rush of pleasure and a freedom of pain. They can create large degrees of tolerance and physical dependence, which cause the abuser to spend increased time trying to obtain them. Street narcotics that can be attained legally but overused, or I'm gonna just put it right here somewhere. So the first one's codeine or something like that. The next is Demerol, then methadone, morphine, and Darvin or something like that. This is how you spell it. And all types can cause withdrawal symptoms for abusers. The next addictive drug is called crack cocaine. So it's a vapor form of cocaine. It's extremely addictive because of its intense smoked form. And the street names include Brock, Crackers, Smoke, Beebs, Bings, and French fries. Okay, next addictive drugs are amphetamines or methamphetamines. So, they are used by young people at parties or raves to enhance for clubbing and dancing. It's a stimulant, but these medications are used for the attention deficit disorder for calming, but people without the disorder have the opposite effects. The street names include Speed, Benny's, Glass, Crystal, Crank, and Pet Pills. Okay, so next is GHB Rohypnol. It's a tranquilizer addictive drug. It can be abused for its intoxicating, sedative, or euphoria-producing properties, or its release of growth hormones, which can build muscle. It's been identified as the date rape drug. It can also depress breathing and can be easily overdosed. Its street names include G, Liquid Ecstasy, forgive me for this pronouncing, Somotomax, Scoop, and Georgia Homeboy. Okay, the next addictive drug, is steroids. So they are available over the counter and marketed under several names. They're normally taken by athletes to enhance performance in sports, also develop muscles. Abusers can take many recommended dosages of the drug to bulk up, and steroids have been found to be associated with chemical dependence and withdrawal syndrome. Okay, the next addictive drugs are inhalants and solvents. So these chemicals or drugs are easily and cheaply available. They are often gateway drugs. And examples of inhalants and solvents are glues, gasolines, rubber cements, aerosols, antifreeze, and cooking sprays. Okay, the next addictive drug is ketamine. So ketamine is used as an anesthetic. It distances the user from physical sensations and it relieves pain. It's similar to PCP. It is very fast acting and less potent. And it's very addictive, and it's sold commercially as a Ketalar. And the street names include Keter, Special K, Lady K, Vitamin K, and just K. The next addictive drug, which we've actually already talked about, but it's a drug worth talking about because it's very bad for you, is heroin. So, heroin, of course, is an addictive drug of the opiate class. It is very fast acting and it can pose very serious health risks. It can obstruct blood vessels leading to the brain, the lungs, the liver, and the kidneys. And the needle sharing of these street drugs is the leading way to transmit HIV and other diseases. Next addictive drug is what we've already talked about before, is marijuana. So marijuana is a way of getting stoned. It can make the user feel relaxed and talkative. And the effects of marijuana can last up to about half an hour to days or weeks after use. The next addictive drug that we've already talked about is phencyclidine, PCP. So it's a synthetic drug, white crystalline powder that can be dissolved in water and alcohol. It has been sold in tablets, capsules, colored powder, liquids, and pastes. It was used as an anesthetic for surgery, but has been discarded for human use because of its extreme side effects. But later use in veterinary medicine has it being used as an anesthetic or a tranquilizer for animals, and it's combined with a leafy vegetable matter such as parsley, mint, or tobacco, and it is smoked in the form of a cigarette. The next addictive drug that we've kind of, I gave an example of this before for a narcotic, but methadone. So methadone is used to give to addicts to get them to stop using narcotics or withdraw them from narcotics. And they are given to patients with chronic severe pain to try to lessen the pain. Okay, our next topic is how drugs affect the health. So our first drug is marijuana. So marijuana has 400 different chemical compounds, and it has more cancer agents in it than tobacco. It can lessen coordination, reaction time, judgment, and reasoning. It can shorten the short-term memory. It can lessen the short-term memory. It can lessen sperm count and testosterone in men, and it can disrupt the menstrual cycle. It also can cause miscarriage and stillbirth in women. The next drug that can increasingly affect your health is cocaine, which we've already talked about. So cocaine has the intense euphoria that is short-lived, so it causes the user to use it more and more to gain the initial high. It can cause problems with the body's blood pressure, heartbeat, respiration, and body temperature. Snorting cocaine can cause damage to the nasal membrane, and continued use can cause insomnia, hyperactivity, anxiousness, agitation, and malnutrition. Okay, the next up is the narcotics. So the narcotics include heroin, opium, morphine, and codeine. They're abused for their mood-altering effects. They can be physically and psychologically addictive. They can create congested lungs, liver disease, tetanus, infection of the heart valves, skin abscesses, anemia or pneumonia, and it can even include death. Okay, the next type of drugs that affect your health are the downers. So these include Valium, Quaaludes, Librium, and Xanax. They have many medical users, but they also can be abused by many users as well. They're physically and psychologically addictive, and they can cause anxiety, convulsions, and sometimes even death. Okay, the next up are the hallucinogens. So they include LSD, DMT, mescaline, PCP, and psilocybin. They cause hallucinations and panic. They can make the user become confused, paranoid, or they can lose control of themselves. And the effects of this include dilated pupils, sweating, insomnia, loss of appetite, tremors, increased blood pressure, increased heart rate, and blood. Okay, next is nicotine. So, nicotine is the active chemical in tobacco. It can create cancer in the lungs, the larynx, and the mouth. Exposure to nicotine or secondhand smoke can increase health risks for non-smokers. And nicotine is highly addictive, and estimations are around 340,000 deaths per year. Okay, the next is caffeine. So, caffeine is a stimulant found in tea, coffee, soft drinks, cocoa, and other like over-the-counter drugs. It can cause nausea, diarrhea, insomnia, nervousness, and headaches, and a form called the shakes. It can increase high risk for miscarriage and low birth rate. And withdrawal symptoms include fatigue, headaches, nausea, and irritability. Okay, the next final drug that affects your health, but this is just a small list out of the many that can affect your health. Anabolic steroids. So, these give you liver and kidney dysfunction, high blood pressure, heart disease, degeneration of the testicles, premature baldness, and acne. They can also create aggression and mood swings. So, these are the drugs that I found for my project that can affect your health, but I know there's many, many more. But this is the site I used to find these certain ones. Okay, next topic is celebrities that have had their careers fall due to drug abuse. So the first one is Whitney Houston. So Whitney Houston died from accidental drowning from the effects of her cocaine abuse. Amy Whitehouse died at 27. Others include Michael Jackson, Heath Ledger, Anna Nicole Smith, John Belushi, Marilyn Monroe, Elvis Presley, and Judy Garland. I think that's how you say her name, but anyways. And Lindsay Lohan has had multiple arrests due to drug abuse and alcohol abuse. Forgive me if I pronounce any of these names wrong, but I didn't really look them up. But anyways, so Gerard Butler and Artie have successfully completed rehab, so there's a good recovery state for a celebrity. Lemmy Moore was hospitalized after she smoked something that gave her convulsions, so she sought professional assistance for her problem. Alex O'Loughlin said he would take time off to seek supervised treatment for prescribed pain drugs after a shoulder injury. And I just took this quote because it's kind of an interesting question to think about. Is there a fatal let me repeat that. Is there a fatal attraction between celebs and controlled substances? So think about that. Okay, members of the Guns N' Roses bass member Duff McKagan says, "It's that caustic mix of being sudden celebrity and it being strung out and it being condoned by the people around you." So that's a quote from Duff McKagan, a bass player from Guns N' Roses. He was a long-time drug addict who sought help at age 30 after an exploding pancreas. talk show host Wendy Williams walked away from her secret cocaine addiction for a better life because she knew it was breaking her parents' hearts and it would send her to an early grave. Members of Aerosmith, like Steven Tyler, made a comeback after their drug addictions and rehab, and they have reestablished their rock band, made a comeback. Okay, the next up is Robert Downey Jr. So he made a celebrity comeback from a drug addiction. He was being sent to jail, but now he is recovering and he's a bigger star than ever. Billie Holiday, a jazz singer who died in 1959, used drugs and alcohol and died from them at age 44. Okay, ordinary people take drugs because of celebrities doing them, but they don't realize about the inner lives of them, that their lives are miserable. Celebrities have had their downfall of their careers due to drug addictions, but the ones who have reestablished their career are the ones who go to rehab and transform their lives. So, basically, all celebrities would tell you not to take drugs. And here is my citation I used for this information. Okay, so my next topic is on, like, I went around here. There's doctors and nurses and stuff. Well, to back up some of this stuff, I asked some questions to a nearby nurse around here. I'm going to use my notebook here because I don't really remember the questions I asked her, but I wrote them down. So here we go. So my first question to the nurse was, how do drugs affect life? And she responded with, it causes anger, distance in the family, trust issues, weight loss, and I wrote a quote she used when we talked. She called drugs a demon. So, next question was, I asked her, how do drugs affect the organs? So, she responded with, heart works faster, it affects your lungs, your liver and kidneys, and your veins. And I don't think she really knew what I was talking about with this one, but I wrote down what she told me anyways. I said, how can drugs kill cells in the body? And she just gave me type of cells that drugs kill. So they kill brain cells, hair cells, and skin cells. I asked, can drugs be lethal by doing it once? She said yes. How many years do you think drugs take off life expectancy? She said a lot of years. Basically, the formula she told me was 1 year of smoking equal to 3 years minus the total life expectancy or something, like every 1 year of smoking and minus 3 years from a person's life. So, okay, well, those were basically all the questions I asked the nurse. So, alright, so for my next person I went to a dermatologist and asked him some few questions about drugs. So here are the drugs I asked him. So, my first question was, does drugs affect the color of the skin? And his answer was, some can. I forget how to say this, but amiodarone. It's a medicine used for heart rate. It's blue. It turns your skin blue. And street drugs typically don't. Alright, next question is, can drugs affect the age of the skin? And his answer was medicine won't, while nicotine can. So that's like smoking and stuff like that. Do drugs affect the strength of the skin? And his answer was steroids can make the skin fragile. How long would it take for a model doing drugs to show the effects in their skin? Said a couple of years. Drugs cause acne, right? I asked. And he said some drugs can. I asked, does drugs cause rashes? He said yes. Do drugs cause wrinkles in the skin? He said rarely. Do drugs cause skin cancer? He said not directly. Pills, if taking pills, it can cause cancer. Is there a specific age group where drugs affect the skin more? He said 20s, teens, and older people. And can drugs affect the skin around the fingernails? And he said yes. And that's all the questions I asked him. Alright, so this is just a little bit of the categories of the drugs. So, pretty much drugs are psychoactive drugs, which are chemicals that change perceptions and moods. So, first concept in this is tolerance. So, tolerance is when the brain adapts to offset the drug's effects, causing the user to use the drug more and more to gain the desired effect. But also, if you stop using the drug, there's a chance for withdrawal. And withdrawal includes intense pain and intense cravings. So, and then, of course, you develop physical dependence, which includes pain and intense cravings as well. And a psychological dependence, which includes stress-relieving drugs and negative emotions. And the more uses of a drug lessens the effects of the drug, causing the user to use the drug more and more to gain the desired effect. And the final thing is addiction, which we've been talking about. It includes multiple cravings for a drug. Okay, so there are 3 types of psychoactive drugs. There are depressants, stimulants, and hallucinogens. So these drugs work in the brain synapses. So these drugs can stimulate, inhibit, or mimic the activity of the neurotransmitters, which are the brain's chemical messengers. Okay, so these are the odds of getting hooked on various drugs. So marijuana is 9%, alcohol is 15%, cocaine is 17%, heroin is 23%, and tobacco is 32%. Okay, the first category of drugs are the depressants. So the depressants include alcohol, barbiturates, and opiates. They calm neuroactivity and they slow body functions. So the first depressant we're going to talk about is alcohol. So alcohol in low doses slows brain activity, which controls judgment and inhibitions. Alcohol is also the equal opportunity drug. College men use it to lower their date sexual inhibitions by getting them to drink. And a quote I'm going to use is, urges you have when sober are the ones that are more likely you to act upon when intoxicated. Okay. Larger doses can slow reaction time, slur speeches, and skilled performance deteriorates. Alcohol claims 100,000 lives each year because of the alcohol-related accidents and violent crime. Also, alcohol disrupts the processing of recent experiences into long-term memories, and it also suppresses REM sleep, which helps to fix the day's experiences into permanent memories. Okay, so MRI scans show that alcohol can affect cognition by shrinking the brain, especially in women because they lack an enzyme that digests alcohol. Women, they are more likely to get addicted more quickly than men. Alcohol also lessens someone's self-awareness. People who want to suppress their failures are more likely to drink. College students are less likely to use condoms under the influence of alcohol. And this is pretty much set or stemmed on the user's expectations. Oh, okay. So barbiturates, which are tranquilizers. These drugs are used to depress neural system activity. Drugs called non-butyl secanoamytal. These are used to, or prescribed to induce sleep and reduce anxiety. In larger doses, these drugs can impair memory and judgment or even death. And if they're combined with alcohol, the depressive effects on the body functions can be lethal. Okay. Next is the opiates. So the opiates include opium, heroin, and morphine. These depress neural functioning. The pupils dilate, the breathing slows, and lethargy sets in. And if those who repeatedly use these artificial opiates, the body stops making its own opiates, the endorphins, and those who don't tolerate the lack of neurotransmitters can die from overdose. Okay, so our next category are the stimulants. So they excite neural activity and arouse body functions. They are used to stay awake, boost mood, and athletic performance. So first drug under stimulants are the amphetamines, which stimulate neural activity, causing speeded up body functions and energy and cause mood changes. Methamphetamines, the other drug, but this causes increased lung and breathing rates. They cause the pupils to dilate. They cause the appetite to diminish, and they cause energy and self-confidence to rise. Okay, so methamphetamines can have 8 hours of heightened energy and euphoria. This drug triggers the release of dopamine, but stimulants in general, they are highly addictive, and they can crash into fatigue, irritability, headaches, and depressions. So like methamphetamine, it's highly addictive. Its after effects include irritability, insomnia, hypertension, seizures, disorientation, and violent behavior. And it can also decrease baseline dopamine levels, leaving the user in depressed functioning. Okay, next is nicotine. So tobacco kills about 5 million people and its 1.3 billion customers, according to the World Health Organization, WHO. WHO expects this number to double in upcoming years, and a teen to the grave smoker has a 50% more chance of dying from smoking. And eliminating smoking can increase life expectancy. Okay, so smokers in early adolescence may want to imitate cool models because they want to be accepted by other smokers, and also they want to project a more mature image. But people, teens with friends and family who are non-smokers, the smoking rate is around 0. Nicotine can also cause physical dependence, and it can build a tolerance. And quitting nicotine can have some severe withdrawal symptoms, which include insomnia, cravings, anxiety, and irritability. Okay, so nicotine stimulates the central nervous system to release neurotransmitters that calms anxiety and reduces sensitivity to pain. It also triggers the release or stimulates the release of dopamine and the opioids. This is what causes people to keep smoking. Nicotine also arouses the brain to a state of increased alertness. It also increases heart rate and blood pressure, and it relaxes muscles and triggers the release of neurotransmitters that may reduce stress. Okay, so cocaine. Cocaine enters the bloodstream quickly. It depletes the brain's supply of the neurotransmitter serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine. Crack gives a more intense craving, a craving for more. It also is faster acting. It creates a more intense high, and it also does a more intense crash. And the side effects include emotional disturbances, suspiciousness, convulsions, cardiac arrest, and respiratory failures. Okay, so ecstasy/MDMA. So it is both a stimulant and a mild hallucinogen. It triggers the release of the neurotransmitter dopamine. It causes people to go into a 3 to 4 hour period of elevated emotion, which pretty much they love everybody, which makes this a club drug. It also causes a dehydration effect, which is severe overheating, and it also increases blood pressure and maybe even death. And repeated leaching of the brain serotonin can damage serotonin-making neurons, which can contribute to the permanently depressed mood. And it also suppresses the disease-fighting immune system, and it impairs memory and cognitive functions. Okay, so the next category of psychoactive drugs are the hallucinogens. So they distort perceptions and they evoke sensory images. So the first one is called LSD. So LSD, it blocks the neurotransmitter serotonin. It makes the user experience like cobwebs, lattices, spirals. And then in the next phase, the person may experience funnels or tunnels and replays of past emotional experiences. And at its peak, a person may feel separated from the body and experience dreamlike images that can bring upon panic. These experiences are close to the near-death experience. And also some of these experiences include the tunnels, bright light, out of beings of light, old memories, and out-of-body sensations. Okay, so the next major hallucinogen out there is marijuana. So marijuana comes from the leaves of the hemp plant. Marijuana relaxes, disinhibits, and can cause a euphoric high. The THC within this drug and its byproducts can lie in the body for a month or more. And a person may gain a high from even small doses from this drug. And with more uses of this drug, a person may have a better chance of gaining anxiety, depression, or schizophrenia. And Marijuana also impairs motor coordination, perceptual skills, and reaction time, and it also disrupts memory formation, and it can affect memory recall from just a few minutes before. I thank you all for watching this video. I've worked pretty hard on this video. I worked since the beginning of August 2012 to the beginning of May, which is 9 months. So you can see I've been working on it pretty much my whole senior year of schools, just researching on these different types of drugs. Hopefully it would benefit me because I would have the knowledge to tell my kids or my family or friends that the drugs are not very good for you at all. They're pretty